Will the Prime Minister commit immediately to putting in place concrete policy changes to address the systemic racism in the RCMP?
Tonight, NDP leader Jagmeet Singh back in the House after calling a Quebec MP racist.
And think coming from a country that was colonized by the British and knowing other countries in the West Indies that were colonized by the French, and now you're saying, pretend to be this colonizer.
A school assignment in Ontario raises concerns. And Manitoba's only First Nations college celebrates with a drive or walk-by grad ceremony. Good evening, I'm Dennis Ward. Welcome to APTN National News. When is a gesture racist or not? NDP leader Jagmeet Singh certainly thought so yesterday and called a Bloc Québécois MP racist. He was then asked to leave the House for the afternoon. APTN's Todd Lamoran reports the issue was still hot today.
Bloc Québécois leader Yves-François Blanchet spent a half-hour press conference defending his MP, Alain Thériault, saying he did nothing wrong.
And that Alain Thériault is anything but a racist person.
It began the day before NDP leader Jagmeet Singh brought forth a motion to, among other things, review the RCMP's budget and how it uses force. Singh claims there was unanimous agreement, except Thériault.
I looked back and I saw that MP not only say no, but make eye contact with me and just kind of brush his hand, dismiss it. And in that moment, I got angry.
Blanchet says his party was saying no because it wants an RCMP review studied by a committee first. He also wondered how a gesture could be interpreted as racist.
If somebody doesn't say anything explicit, who is entitled to say, oh, he moved his hand in such a way and this means this or that?
When Singh got up to speak in the House later that day, Bloc Party Whip Claude de Belfoy interrupted and asked House Speaker Anthony Rota to expel him once again from the House. Stating the request came on short notice, Rota promised to reply before the House sits again on July 8th and allows Singh to continue.
Will the Prime Minister commit immediately to putting in place concrete policy changes to address the systemic racism in the RCMP?
We need to take concrete action right away to address systemic racism in this country. We have much work to do. We will do it with partners. We will do it with everyone in this House who wants to work with it on us.
During his daily briefing, Trudeau took a partisan swipe at the Bloc when asked about the Singh incident.
It is disappointing that the Bloc Québécois continues to refuse to accept that systemic discrimination, systemic racism exists within our country, in every part of our country and in all our institutions.
Blanchet said through an interpreter that there is no clear definition of systemic racism and insisted his party is anything but racist. Todd Lamoran, APTN National News, Ottawa.
We'd like to hear what you think about the incident. Here's how to continue the conversation. Send your emails to news@aptn.ca. Find us online at aptnnews.ca and on youtube.com/aptnnews. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest Indigenous news. The Southern Chiefs Organization and the Government of Canada have entered into an agreement they say is historic. It would see the two work together to ensure Anishinaabe and Dakota peoples in Manitoba have more control over health programs and services. On Thursday, SCO signed a memorandum of understanding with Indigenous Services Minister Mark Miller, who appeared via video chat. The MOU allows for the creation of a new First Nations health governance structure. Grand Chief Jerry Daniels says this will give the 34 communities he represents greater control over design, delivery, funding, and management of services and programs. He adds the model will be community-led and holistic, focusing on Western and traditional forms of treatment. Now he hopes the province will come to the table.
It's really about pulling together all of the strategies in our communities and getting a real clarity on what's happening, and then pushing the government on providing the funding and providing the jurisdiction. We have it right now, but the challenge going forward after this is also to work with the province.
Last week, APTN broke a story about a 7-year-old girl whose mother says she was forced into a genital exam while visiting a doctor in Northern Ontario. That story has now reached the Senate. The family says they went through a forced physical examination due to racial stereotyping on the doctor's part, and they contend it amounted to a sexual assault due to the lack of consent. The physician denied that, and the family applied to the federal government for Jordan's principal funding, but was denied. Senator Yvonne Boyer wants to know why. Senator Gwen Boniface posed the question on behalf of Boyer yesterday in the Senate, and Government Representative Senator Mark Gold responded. Here's that exchange.
Is it the Crown's view that it is acceptable for low-income First Nation children to have no meaningful or practical recourse when they experience racial discrimination while seeking health care, including when that discrimination has ongoing negative impacts on their health and access to services? And if it's not the Crown's view, how does the Crown propose that this family can seek accountability and remedy for what she experienced without legal funding?
The government continues to work with its partners to advance the well-being of Indigenous children. I have made inquiries about these questions, but unfortunately do not yet have the response. I will report back to this chamber as soon as I do receive the response.
Yesterday, Canada lost out to Norway and Ireland for a seat on the United Nations Security Council. Today, the Native Women's Association of Canada released a statement saying the loss may be disappointing for some, but no surprise to many. NWAC said the government's failure to draft a national action plan in response to the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls report forced the organization to give Canada a failing grade for its response to the inquiry's findings. President Lorraine Whitman said in the statement, quote, "If you cannot put your own house in order, what right do you have to hector other countries to do the same?" Time for a quick break, but still to come. Apologies are being made after a school assignment raised concerns. Stick around. Here's a look at your Friday weather forecast starting on the East Coast. 35 and sunny for Fredericton, 34 in Halifax. A high of just 6 in Nain, 8 for Cartwright. 34 in Montreal and Saguenay, 32 in Chibougamau. 29 under sunny skies in Toronto, 32 with the sun out for Ottawa. 26 and showers in Thunder Bay, 22 for Sioux Lookout. Plus 6 in Churchill, 8 with showers for Puckatawagan. 20 in Winnipeg, 18 for Brandon and Gimli. Showers and 16 in Saskatoon, rain and 17 for Regina. 14 with showers in Meadow Lake, 20 in Stony Rapids. Welcome back. A group of homeless people in Vancouver were evicted from their tent city. Then they created another camp at a different location and were evicted again. Now they've built another tent city. APTN's Tina House has this story about how some people are refusing to give up their right to build their own community until they get permanent housing.
For over 200 people, this normally vacant parking lot is home. Many lived at Oppenheimer Park previously, which was cleared a few weeks ago, like Chris. But he knows time is limited here, as an injunction deadline to vacate has passed.
I think it's just about breaking up the community. Like, they don't want us all together as one voice. They'd rather just have us all, like, spread out so we can get picked off one at a time, I guess. It's a lot safer here being in a group.
And then, on Tuesday, June 16th, Vancouver police moved in and raided the makeshift tent city at 6 a.m. The standoff lasted all day. Approximately 50 people remained at the end of the day, sitting in a circle and surrounding sacred firekeeper Veronica, who had injured herself and fell down after the early morning raid. No peace! No peace! The court injunction covers this parking lot owned by the Vancouver Port Authority, and people did not go willingly. Each of them were handcuffed and taken one by one to awaiting police vans.
made a beautiful community. A lot of people who did sit by the fire day after day, suddenly their hope, their lives changed, just their spirit.
Award-winning filmmaker Ella Maya Tailfeathers came down to lend her support.
I'm embarrassed to call myself a Vancouver right now. I'm embarrassed that my tax dollars are going towards this. I mean, all of the money that could be put towards housing, towards harm reduction programming, to supporting people with addictions.
46 people were eventually arrested and kept overnight in jail, but released the next day. And with no plan given by authorities of where they should go, or any offer of new housing, they packed up and found a new home. And this is now the new tent city in Strathcona Park in East Vancouver. Once again, they have managed to organize another community, and anyone is welcome.
Lunch is going to be ready in about 8 minutes. We've got spaghetti and meatballs, homemade.
Veronica says an ember from the Sacred Fire at Crab Park was brought here for the new Sacred Fire. She's thankful for the support and care given to the people here.
I have huge crews behind me coming together, ready and willing, and have the skills and the professions and the ability to look after this community.
Tina House, APTN National News, Vancouver.
In Hamilton, Ontario, a family is raising concerns about a school assignment that one MP is calling anti-Indigenous. Elena McDougall has that story.
I feel they could just know that isn't appropriate. You're not having to have the news talk about it and stuff.
Kyla Manswell is a grade 7 student who hopes that lessons about colonization in her school will get better. The 13-year-old was given an assignment that read, "You are going to pretend that you are a colonist from France. You have just discovered North America. The Aboriginal people that were there before you are having issues with you staying. You are going to create a speech as the French colonists to convince the Aboriginal people to let you stay on their land." The instructions go on to read, "The more convincing you are, the better your mark will be." Manswell's mother is from Guyana.
And think coming from a country that was colonized by the British and knowing other countries in the West Indies that were colonized by the French, and now you're saying, pretend to be this colonizer. And like the effects of that, I said, and just from my personal experiences, there's no way I would want to pretend to be someone who's colonized and caused so much harm.
Danica wrote an email to the teacher who apologized immediately. They are not naming the teacher. They hope all schools will teach the topic with more sensitivity. Pat Daly chairs the board.
Well, I want to say first that we regret and apologize for any hurt or concern this has caused this specific student and their family. But beyond that, any hurt or concern within the Indigenous community, and to absolutely pledge that, as the teacher has, that we as a system acknowledge the insensitivity and the inappropriateness, and that we will learn and grow from it, and as a system, we are absolutely committed to that.
Daly said the board is committed to truth and reconciliation, and that the board's Indigenous education lead will follow up with the entire school system. Matthew Green is the NDP MP for Hamilton Centre. He supports the family and said issues raised by the assignment are not isolated to any one school or class.
I think that her courage is indicative of the solidarity that we are seeing across the country between, two historically oppressed and brutalized communities, the Black and Indigenous communities. We know that in Canada, the movement around this new civil rights began with Idle No More and Teresa Spence. It was continued by the Black Lives Matter movement. That this next generation that is aware to the injustices and inequalities of Canada are no longer willing to stand by and wait for these systems of oppression to address themselves.
Kyla completed her assignment, but is yet to receive a grade. She shared her speech with APTN.
So please tell me why. Why are we in your eyes less? Why are we seen as animals and slaves? At the end of the day, we are all equal, we all bleed the same blood, and we are all human.
Elena McDougall, APTN National News, Hamilton.
Well, when students graduate, there's usually friends and family, plenty of smiles, and even a few tears. But the global pandemic and social distancing has changed all that. Manitoba's only First Nation college held their graduation today. And as APTN's Daryl Stranger shows us, the faculty there came together to find a pandemic-safe way to help their students celebrate.
It may have sounded like any other graduation, but this year's class of 2020 celebrated their achievements a little differently. COVID-19 forced graduations to be cancelled, so the faculty at Yellow Quill College stepped up. A drive-by or walk-by grad was created for the students to have an opportunity to celebrate their achievements in person.
Lots and lots of work, but you know what? Everybody pulled through. And our graduates, over 100 graduates, which is awesome for us. So, yeah, our 36th annual year. There's 36 years of graduation, so this is the first time we've ever had this kind of a graduation. But, students work hard. They, work hard, some of them for 2 years. So they deserve something at the end of the day. So we sort of just thought we would do something special for them, and this is it.
This year, when schools canceled in-person classes, teachers and students had to quickly adjust to their new norm to be able to complete their work in time for graduation. Online distance learning and work packages designed to be done from home were created.
Doing schoolwork at home is it's challenging because you need the teacher's help, and it's hard to get the teacher's help. It's a lot of emailing back and forth and making sure you hand assignments in on time. Good luck. And it feels good though to graduate though. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm proud of myself.
For Frida Meaches, trying to graduate even before a pandemic was challenging enough, as she lost her partner John last year.
He wanted me to finish. We talked about it. He said it didn't matter, even if he passed and he got sicker, and he still wanted me to finish. So I finished, and I'm here, and I got my certificate. It was a long journey. I was here every day. I never missed. It was hard. I still stuck with it, and I got my diploma. I'm very, very happy.
Pompana believes the success students have is due in part to the college being First Nations.
It's a great place to be. Students really enjoy themselves here. I think we go sort of above and beyond because of the majority of our students being First Nation. We understand the difficulties that they come with, and our staff are very compassionate. They put a lot of effort into helping students as much as they can, and students need that.
Daryl Stranger, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Looks like it was a great day. Congrats to all the grads. Coming up, we'll introduce you to one family who have been riding out the global pandemic on their trapline. Here's the rest of your Friday weather forecast picking back up in northern Alberta. Showers in 21 in Fort McMurray, 26 in High Level, 23 for Medicine Hat, showers in 20 in Lethbridge. Partly cloudy and 20 in Vancouver and Victoria, 29 in Kamloops, 28 under sunny skies for Fort Nelson, showers and 17 for Smithers, 14 and rain in Old Crow, 20 in Whitehorse and Watson Lake, 22 in Yellowknife, 30 for Fort Simpson and Wrigley, 7 in Sax Harbor, 5 with showers for Pulatuck, 18 in Baker Lake, Whale Cove and Chesterfield, 2 with rain in Resolute, plus 4 in Pangertown. Welcome back. A Saskatchewan Cree family decided that to stay safe during this pandemic, the best option was to go back to the old ways, where self-isolation was a way of life. APTN's Priscilla Wolf has their story.
Annie McKenzie has been up on her trap line since mid-March. It's a half-hour boat ride from Stanley Mission. which is 460 kilometers north of Saskatoon. She has diabetes, and if she becomes infected with COVID-19, she knows it could be deadly. Her trap line is where she feels safe. She loves living on the land. Her day consists of keeping up a routine. Her daughter, Darlene McKenzie, is translating for Annie since she is fluent in Cree.
So on a daily basis, she would wake up, wash her face, and gather the wood, get the water, and just walk around, just do little stuff here and there. Go inside, do her puzzles, make a fire, and it's the same routine all the time.
Annie's children and grandchildren also joined her on the family trap line.
This is closed during the winter time. Just in the springtime, we'll open up it's a family-owned fishing camp. But because of the COVID and because of her medical conditions, we came in March just to get away from the community.
When the pandemic first began in March, Annie decided she had to act fast.
Well, when the first news came out in February about the COVID, I knew right away that I wanted to come out here because the school was going to be suspended anyway. I was in school at Northlands College.
Darlene had some difficulties doing her online classes on the trap line, but she managed.
But I still had to do online classes, which was kind of tough because there's no signal here. So I had to go out in the lake to get the signal to attend class, and it was fun.
Chief Tammy Cook-Searson says she supports the McKenzies and their choice to self-isolate on the trap line because it's part of the northern culture.
Their whole family that have been here during the COVID-19, the world pandemic that we're in. And just coming out on the land, supporting trappers and the trapping lifestyle, it's something that's always been near and dear to who we are, because we've always been hunters, fishermen, trappers, always lived off the land.
The family plans to stay here in self-isolation until October or until it's safe.
There's no other place I'd rather be. This is where I wanted to bring my family and come stay here, just be at peace and self-isolate.
Priscilla Wolf, AP10 National News, Family Mission.
Imagine getting to do your classes out on the lake. Well, a group called Midday Waykwiak Nimkagewak is inviting jingle dress dancers everywhere to pray for global healing. The meaning of the group's name includes medicine woman dancing for the people. Amy Desjarlis is one of the organizers.
Basically, we're giving thanks to the first jingle dress that came during the previous pandemic and all of the healing that has brought to our communities. But we're also giving thanks to all the frontline workers. We're giving remembrance to the ones that have passed, and we're giving support to those ones that are grieving right now and having a hard time. So this basically, the essence of this is to come together collectively, even in isolation, to let each other know that we're here to support one another and that the smallest positive action can make a big difference.
The dancers are asked to join in solstice prayer monthly beginning this Saturday, June 20th to midnight, June 21st until the pandemic is over. Well, that's all the time we have for your AP10 National News for this Thursday. For much more, visit our website, aptnnews.ca. I'm Dennis Ward. Thanks for tuning in. See you back here tomorrow.